Hey everybody, this is a special day, special time. This is our first episode of Homes and Loans Podcast, and I got the man here, sitting here, the man who started this, God gave him the vision for this, and his name is nothing but else, the legend, the man, Loren Riddick, my God.
Thank you, Joe.
I
appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, just glad to be here. Folks, this is the beginning of many of our podcast episodes, and as Joe was saying, I just had a vision of, how can we give back? How can we give back to the community and what we're doing? And I wanted to have the opportunity to do that. And I thought, well, you know what? There's lots of mindset that I've gotten over the years, and I just felt like it was something that I had some things to share, and it dawned on me that I knew a lot of people from different industries, walks of life, all kinds of arenas that have success, positive mindset, something to share somebody else. So we came up with the idea of Homes and Loans Podcast, and so you'll be able to see these on homesandloanspodcast.com. We have so many great guests, and basically it's bookend with 3 individual segments. One, talk about where that guest is from. The second, and what makes them tick, I guess. The second thing will be their profession, and maybe not just some tips of some advice for the general public of how they can kind of get a glimpse behind the curtain of whatever someone's doing, but also the ability to let them know how to reach that professional, whatever it might be. And then the third, I call it the gold nugget segment, and that's where we have the mindset that when we have adversity and things that just come our way, what do we tell ourselves? What makes us have the ability to get through that adversity? Yes. So, and I'm thankful, and Joe has been doing an amazing job with the production and getting everything set up. He handles the scheduling, getting our studio set up in our office here. We create a whole studio, so you've been doing a great job too, my friend.
Hey, well, I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here and sit here and to witness these amazing conversations.
It's going to be great.
This is awesome. So, what gave you the, the button to be like, you know what? Let's start a podcast.
Well, I think the first thing, Joe, is that I'm very old school, you guys. I'm very, very old school. Eyeball to eyeball, handshake to handshake, and the majority of our mortgage practice, the majority of my mortgage practice and real estate through my partners, my lovely wife, Missy, is repeat and referral. Pretty old school. No advertising, just word of mouth. But I also realize I'm very lacking in social media. True confession, I still don't really get on Facebook, which I know is like crazy, compared in today's times. We're in 2024 as we record this. My lovely wife, Missy, shout out to her. In a week, it'll be 30 years of marriage, so very thankful for that. But she helps me with my social media, but I realized that I needed to really get out of the 90s, right? And so I went to a conference in Vegas, and it talked about collaboration beats competition. So that was important to me. Collaborate with as many people as possible, and having a podcast was, the forefront of conversation. And again, just realized that I needed to leverage my relationships with some very successful people in different walks that would help the greater good, and that's what it's all about.
That is amazing. That's awesome. So, tell us, where are you from? Where is Loren Riddick from?
Well, I am I'm a fellow from the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee here in Maryville. I'll often say, what's the LBC? Lower Blount County, right? But I had a great grandmother that was actually born in the Oliver cabin at Cades Cove. So I'm very much like a 5th generation, East Tennessean. I had 2 grandfathers that worked 72 years in the pot rooms at Alcoa and the molten aluminum pot rooms. A grandmother that worked at Blunt Memorial Hospital, another grandmother that ran moonshine from here to Telco, a mother that worked at the Air Base as a civilian instructor, actually helped bring the World's Fair here at 82, which I'm very proud of, my mom, and she's an accomplished songwriter. And my dad, basketball coach and teacher for 30 to 40 years in the Blount County school system. And so I'm very proud of upbringing. I have a lovely sister, Laura, 2 years my junior, and I just love our East Tennessee home. And my dad was an amazing athlete. He was the 1959 state champion in Alcoa's first championship, and he was the MVP of the state. So I always grew up hearing, "Are you going to be as good as your dad?" And the reality of it is no, but I tried. I was a little slower, later bloomer, and ended up working really hard, and went to junior college, walked on, played basketball there. I actually had a head full of hair like you many years ago. Did some modeling and acting in New York, and at the time my wife, who was not my wife at the time, she gave up on me, and I made a decision, well, maybe I'll be the next Tom Cruise, or this is who I'm supposed to have a family with. And thank God I chose the family and my wife, and came back, and basketball was still in my blood. At the time, East Tennessee State University was ranked, I think, 9th or 10th in the nation. And as a mid-major, that was something. They had already gone to a couple NCAA tournaments, and working really hard and making that team, and getting a couple of championship rings, and going to the NCAA tournament. And that spurred my interest to helping the community. As you know, as one of our alumni, we had our Stars of Tomorrow basketball camp. 20 years we got to serve our community. Free basketball camp where the kids got a basketball and a t-shirt and Papa John's and Chick-fil-A, and had a lot of my old teammates who some had gone on to play for the NBA and overseas, and a couple for the Globetrotters, and they would come and do routines for the kids. But it was just good, and just been a great life, man. I enjoy giving back to the community, and this is 25 years in mortgage lending this spring, so very thankful.
That's amazing. No, I remember those days, those Stars of Tomorrow camp days. Those times, especially that.
Do you have any memories of that? Do you have a fond memory that comes to mind for the camp?
I got one, and this is funny. So I remember we had a quiet time. Told us to not talk, and it was me and two of my other friends, and they started talking, and I'm like, man, they need to stop talking. Please stop talking. I was like, stop talking, and then right when I said stop talking, you said, y'all three get up, and then you had us do push-ups. I can't remember if it was push-ups or planks or just had us sitting there, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, man, and I'm looking at my friends. I was like, if y'all just would have been quiet, you got us, everybody looking at us.
Yeah, I'm a little old school like that, man. I thought you were going to say what sometimes I would do is have all the kids, because everybody's there, they want to play, and they're rambunctious, want to enjoy some fun, and I would have them all sit and watch us play horse or something while we.
Yes, I remember that too. But yes, I do remember those times. It was so fun, and just you really learned a lot too. Just being especially young at that age, you would teach us so many things about the game, and I think I just started to love it more and more. And now even coaching, it's wild to me. I get to coach little fourth graders,
and that makes me very proud that you're coaching and doing different things, and working with the youth, our church. I love that, Joe. I thank you for that. I think one of the things I like the most about that camp is that when we would do our positive reinforcements and incantations of, I'm a champion, I'm the best of the best, I've got what it takes. We'd have the children repeat, I'm a champion, I'm a champion, I'm the best of the best, I've got what it takes. If it's to be, it's me, right? I'm a force for good, not evil, right? And that's what it's all about. So I would just glad to be here. A great first segment. And again, this is a blueprint that we're going to use throughout all of the podcasts. So we hope you enjoy this and get something out of it, truly.
We'll be back.
Hey folks, I'm so excited to bring to you our Homes and Loans podcast series. It's something near and dear to my heart. I know it's going to make a positive impact in your life and someone that you know and care about. I encourage you to share this series with anyone that fits that description. I had the vision of bringing together like-minded people that are positive, that are forced for good, not evil, in different industries, different arenas of business, whether it's educators, entrepreneurs, attorneys, CPAs, financial planners, real estate professionals, and of course, mortgage professionals and beyond. This is just an amazing series. It's going to make a difference. And the idea is that we bring these folks together so that you can enjoy it and get something out of it. And we have 3 basic segments as our format. The first segment is where someone's from. Where were they born, and maybe some childhood memories that they carry to this day. Number 2, their business, how you might be able to reach them, maybe some tips and tricks that gives you a glimpse behind the curtain in what they do that can help you. And of course, how you reach them. And the third, I'm really excited about because that's where the gold nuggets come in. Those nuggets that we all call on to get through adversity. We all face adversity. And we always ask the question, hey, how do you balance your professional and personal life? And we even ask a question, who'd you have coffee with? Some historical figure. But the main crux of it is, how do we get through adversity? How do you look at the glass half full and not half empty? And so many other things. So we encourage you to share this. You can go to homesandloanspodcast.com, and that's A-N-D spelled out, homesandloanspodcast.com. And you can see the whole series. Man, we hope you enjoy it. Share this with someone you care about. It's going to be great.
Hey everyone, we're back with my man Loren Riddick, and let's get straight into it. So, when, and why did you want to get into the mortgage business?
Well, I think, Joe, the first thing, I didn't even know what a mortgage was, right? Didn't understand it. And I'm thankful that when I think back about the things that I've done, whether it's working at Wendy's or thrifty car rental, or the Saturn Corporation, which was the precursor for Carvana and CarMax, where if you didn't like the car, you got your money back, didn't negotiate on the price, those things. Fixing windshield chips to help put myself through college. Everything that I've ever done, I believed in it. I've never had to feel like I had to lie, cheat, or steal to do anything that would provide for myself or my family. Very, very proud and thankful of that. As a father and a husband, you never want to put yourself in a situation where you've got to do bad to take care of your family.
Yes.
I've never had to do that. I don't believe I would, but I love helping people. And when I realized mortgage lending at its core is simply just helping folks, if they want to buy a new home, you help them get the resources to do that, right? If they need to restructure their debt in a better way, they already own the property, maybe refinance it, then that's been great. So again, this is 25 years of being in the mortgage arena, and I'm one of the old school fellas. At the time of this recording, I'm 55, and got into mortgage lending. I think I was, I was 29, 30 years old. So it's great to have young blood. I know you're getting your license and soon to be a loan officer yourself. So thankful about that. And I think my biggest passion has evolved into reverse mortgage lending. Most people just don't understand about reverse. If you ask them, hey, what do you think about a reverse? Is it positive or negative? They're usually going to say negative, or at least have that reaction. And then if you press them and say, well, why is that? They're either going to say, well, I don't know. Or they're going to say something crazy like, the bank gets the house and kids get screwed out of their money and whatever. And the cool thing, if I can just take a moment, folks, in 2 minutes, you're going to know more than 98% of everybody in the country as it relates to reverse mortgage lending. So let's say a real estate agent goes to a listing appointment, and he or she determines that there's 12 years left before Wells Fargo's paid off. Well, question, who owns the home until they pay it to zero? Bank or client? And most everybody will say out there, you said the bank. And we're all wrong. You see, if someone slips on a banana peel, the bank doesn't get sued, the homeowner does. If the homeowner wants to fix up their kitchen or bathroom, Joe, they don't have to call the bank to get permission to remodel the bank's kitchen or bathroom, and the bank doesn't sign the listing agreement, purchase contract, or any closing docs. So the first thing that folks need to understand is a reverse mortgage, also known as the home equity conversion mortgage. It's just a mortgage. It's just a mortgage, just a lien on the property. So the answer is, if you have a mortgage transaction, a mortgage on your home, you still own your home as the homeowner. You just allowed a lien. Now, if you don't make your house payments as you're supposed to, then the bank can foreclose, just like they could if you don't pay your property taxes. But really what a reverse is in its core is it gives the senior client that's 62 years or better, and in some cases, some states, non-FHA programs, as young as 55, but the ability to have the option to either make a payment and the balance go down, or not make a payment and let the balance accumulate and grow, so that it doesn't have to be paid back up to 1 year after they pass away. And you're like, well, man, that sounds too good to be
true,
right? How can a bank, wait that long before they get a payment? And the answer is, the reason that there's been over 1 million of these facilitated since Reagan got behind in the late 80s is because of the FHA mortgage insurance. Many of us are familiar with terms like PMI and MIP, mortgage insurance that often accommodates or accompanies government-backed programs, USDA, VA, FHA. This mortgage insurance protects the servicing bank, not the client. So if you know that it's just a mortgage, and you know the reason it's not too good to be true is FHA insures the note, then you know more than 98% of everybody in the country, and that includes mortgage and real estate professionals, even in attorneys and whatnot. So, it's a really often misunderstood program, and that amazing program, Joe, can be used as a reverse purchase, where someone can bring $600,000 in cash, and customarily, if they don't want a house payment, they can only buy a $600,000 home. Well, they can actually put $600,000 down and facilitate up to $900,000 to $1 million and still have no house payment out of their pocket every month for the rest of their life. And the reason it's not too good to be true is FHA insures the note. So you have $600,000 down, and you combine that with a $300,000 or $400,000 insured FHA loan. That's why it works. And then the other extreme that I encourage everyone to think about is that, we've been taught to believe that it's a good thing to have our homes paid off.
right,
But is it really? Studies reveal that less than 1% of children want to live in their parents' home. Number two, especially in the state of Tennessee, that paid off home is totally at the risk of the nursing home and or the market. In other words, if we die in a nursing home, an extended amount of care after our long-term health care exhausted itself, and a lot of times folks don't even have that. If they do, it's 3 years maybe, something like that. Well, you don't think about it as a financial planning tool. But Dr. Wade Fowle of the American College, and that's Dr. PFAU, Dr. Wade Fowle, he challenges financial planners with fiduciary that if they don't talk about a reverse, they're more likely to be sued if they don't talk about it than if they do. And the reason is, let's say, for example, let's take someone with $1 million home paid off and they've got 5 to 10 million in assets under management. How much access does that gentleman have to that $1 million, Joe, if he doesn't call a realtor or a mortgage banker? Well, zero. There's no access to it. So what we're going to do is, number one, we're going to give him a key to have access to it. You said, well, wait a minute, Loren, I go to a local bank and do that. Yeah, you can, but it's probably got a 5 to 10 year balloon on it. And again, you're still repaying a loan. If you owe 400 on $1 million, that means there's $600,000 in equity that you can't take with you. There's no U-Haul behind the hearse, right? And there's only one thing worse than having $600,000 in equity that you can't take with you, totally at the risk of the nursing home in the market. Well, what's that? Well, having more than 600. And that's what happens every time somebody makes a payment. So instead of making a mortgage payment, making the equity even bigger, they can use that to give warm-handed gifts to their children or their grandchildren, use that to facilitate money for a long-term health care, life insurance plan, maybe make up for the loss of an income if someone passes away, maybe use that as a monthly income for deferring Social Security. In short, if someone has that $1 million home, folks, and they set up a $300,000 to $400,000 line of credit, they're only going to pay interest on the money they take out. They're not paying interest if they didn't take the money out. And here's what gets really amazing: that $300,000 to $400,000 that's not being used is currently growing at over 8%, and that's tax-free money. What that means in English, folks, is in 1 year, 300,000 becomes 324,000. 400,000 becomes 432,000. Each of those two numbers, 24 and 32,000 respectively, divided by 12 months represents $2,000 to $2,600 a month, Joe. Every single month, tax-free, and still have access to the 300,000 or 400,000 if a crisis comes around. So it's a really good plan that a lot of people are taking advantage of, and I love doing it. You know, I love taking care of my first-time home buyer as well as my last-time home buyer. So my mortgage practice, as you noted, is both forward and reverse. I have the ability to work with a traditional client, more my age and younger, and a lot of my age are now dealing with mom and dad. So we ask the question, you know, how's mom and dad? You know, I love my parents very, very much, and I know my business. You know, not to impress you, but I have the designation of certified reverse mortgage professional. There's only about 200 in the country, only one that lives in Tennessee. Yeah, so I love my parents and I know my stuff, and they've had a reverse for about 4.5 years, so that should tell you a lot.
Yes. Hey, this is the man here. Y'all need to get with him as soon as possible if y'all need anything that involves mortgage. What else?
Well, you know, real estate, we're going to have some great guests that are going to be in real estate. My wife is also Missy. You guys loves in real estate. And if you want to know more about us, you can go to reversewisdom.com, the LorenRiddickTeam.com, or you can go to Homes&LoansPodcast.com. So we have several ways you can reach us. I'll also give you my personal cell, 865-850-2300. And I just encourage you to Google my name as well. Work very, very hard. Have a huge percentage of
one of the top role models in my life, and I mean that for real.
I hope I'm worthy of that, my friend.
You are. You most definitely are. And I want to know what makes you, like, when adversity hits, like, how do you what do you do, like, when things,
Well, man, I tell you, Joe, I don't know if there's really a silver bullet for that. First, I'll be very specific. I'm a man of faith. I know my Lord and Savior died on the cross for my sins, and the Holy Spirit's with me, gives me discernment and wisdom. But I think first is recognizing that fear is false evidence appearing real. 9% of the stuff we fear never happens.
right?
10% is what happens, 9% is what we deal with it. And the opposite of faith is fear. So I keep that in my mind. And there's things that come in my mind, Joe, like, tough times don't last. Tough people do. The road to success leads right through the dump. Adversity is nature's way of weeding out the weak. I'm a champion. I'm the best of the best. I've got, and I try to look at the glass half full instead of half empty. Even when it's a lot of adversity, I try to, I pray for discernment and wisdom, and then I try to look at the positives.
Yes.
In every situation. There's always, if there's any good in it, rejoice in it and look for that, and so that's something I try to do. And then I think, my basketball upbringing, as I shared earlier, I wasn't that athletic. I mean, I ended up working myself into a decent player. And when I would play my hardest, I could hang with those guys that played professional basketball.
Right.
In practice. But when they went to their hardest, it's different. But I realized that, in basketball, we may not make every shot, we may not make every dribble, and we're not going to make every pass. That's skill. But hard work, heart, has nothing to do with those three. Now it does in relation to preparing and all the hours and the old thing that the ball, bad English, but the ball don't lie, right? I guess the ball doesn't lie, but the ball don't lie. But diving on the floor, getting loose balls, defending, rebounding, just hustling has everything to do with your heart. And that's what you can control. So for me, if I really just put a bow on it for you, I would just say that how I deal with adversity is I just roll my sleeves up and go to work even harder. And I found that if I can get through that, everything's good. I love what Rodney was sharing. Rodney was sharing one of our later podcasts. He said, if no matter what we've dealt with, if we're still alive, no matter what adversity we've dealt with, we're still 100%. We're still here, right? We're still here. So shout out to Rodney Murphy for that. But I think just having the fortitude to dig down, go through, and I do get some strength from knowing how hard my parents worked and my grandfathers in the pot rooms of Alcoa. I'm very proud of that. So oftentimes I will think about when I was younger, baling hay and working in the farm and shoveling horse manure, whatever I'm doing. No matter how crazy my day may get, we're in an air-conditioned, nice building, and 10 steps from the water cooler in the bathroom, and how hard do we really have it, right? And then, so I think just pushing through adversity and knowing that, through all, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Amen to that, for sure. That's good. That's some good stuff. So, and this is another question I have. It's just that, how do you balance your professional life and your time with family?
I'm better. I'm much better than I used to be. I'm still working at it, but I think I am a little bit of a throwback of the old man's man kind of thing. I take pride in that. I think I heard something that said, if you take the paddle your canoe generation, i.e. get your tail wore out by your mom and your daddy, strict, and the timeout generation, which one's tougher, which one's more successful? I'll leave you guys to debate that, but I feel like as a man, it's my responsibility to provide for my family. If there's a bump in the night, I've got to be the first one to go out the door. And it's my responsibility to be the hardest worker, and to sacrifice. Again, there's probably some folks out there going, man, that's an old school way of thinking. Well, it may very well be. But balancing, and you hear people say, hey, well, because my family's number one, my career's number one. Because I have to be able to, money's not everything, but it's the next thing to oxygen. Yes, you have to have it. Yes, and so as a young man and young fathers and husbands out there, I just, I salute you. And then the ladies, it's taking everybody to get it done. But, having that balance is, I think, very tough. And, it's tough for ladies. How do you balance being a mother and a wife and career person and daughter and sibling? I think it's a challenge for all of us in this day and time, Joe. There's just so many things, but probably one of the best things I ever heard is a story, and I'll share with you all. It really bothered me that, I learned a long time ago that either you're making money or you're losing money. And you should work by the minute, not by the hour. So if you want to make, $250,000 a year, for example, you need to be working like you're worth $1.67 a minute. And if you want to make $1 million, then you need to be working like you're $404.70 cents a minute. And so when you do that and you go home and once you think of it that way and you're playing with your family or whatnot, in the back of your mind, you're like, ooh, that meter's still running. It's priceless time. But it's easy to get caught up in the provide part of it and not the quality of life. Because I do believe that no one's going to be on their deathbed going, man, I wish I'd have closed one more deal. I wish I'd have spent more time with my family. I wish I'd have been a better person. I wish I'd have been a better impact. So I try to stay focused on that. But one of the best advice things I'd ever heard is that I went to an event in Vegas. It was a banking conference. And a gentleman by the name of Tim Brahim, amazing guy. And he came out and he was a keynote speaker. And he basically said, hey, I chose this portion of the presentation because it's before a break. And I'm going to stay at the bottom of the stage and I'm going to answer any questions that you all have. And I thought that was really cool. And so at the break, a lot of people are going to do different things. And I was right there and I had to ask the question, how do you balance it? How do you deal with that? How do you balance that? And he told a story of, I imagine, Dances with Wolves, we've seen that movie, Kevin Costner, but back in the Indian days, when they would go on a warpath, the Indians, they would see a lot of bad stuff. A lot of gore, right? Blood, and their fathers killed, their sons killed, their nephews killed, their aunts or their uncles killed, all the men. And they've gone to war. And so they're in that state of war. They would never go back to the tribe right away, Joe. They would stop on a ridge in eye shot of the tribe to decompress, whether they smoked their peyote or ate their peyote or whatever, peace pipe, whatever they did. But they would send the smoke signals up, hey, we did well, we didn't do so well, it was a draw, whatever. But they would find their place to decompress, de-stress, and then go home. And so that really helped me a lot, Joe. So I tried to do my best to have that separation between work and home. COVID was a challenge because I did a lot of work from home. So I would go from one room to the other and, it kind of blurred the lines a little bit. But I think for me, it's that separation and just really trying to value those special times. And my daughter Lucy, shout out to my son and daughter Lucy. Lucy's turning 17 tomorrow as this is being recorded. And my son Tucker will be 28 in the summer. And I remember when she was little, she would have me sing Edelweiss to her from the song Sound of Music. And I remember, no matter how tired I was, Joe, I would always go sing that to her. Because I knew there would be a time where, and there was times with Daddy, you don't have to sing that for me anymore, which almost broke my heart. But I got to rest a little bit more. But I think just trying to be in the present moment and appreciate what I have and not going straight back home when, I've dealt with a lot of stuff.
That's good. That's so good. And to hear that as a young man, 22-year-old, and to get this right here, because when I get older and older, I can always look back at this, and use that, So this is good. I mean, guys, if y'all are not ready for this, I'm telling you right now, man. But yes.
What's exciting is being able to, and when this is being recorded, you're 22. So being able to, stand on the other side of the camera and do all the production stuff and be front row to all the incredibly successful folks that are going to be in here. The best is yet to come. Mine was just to kind of get us started, episode 1, and just kind of share with you all the vision of why and what we're doing. But, it's all about helping the greater good. And I encourage you that, if there's something that you got from maybe something I shared, man, awesome. Hey, folks, I just want to take a moment and thank you for looking at our podcast. I hope you're enjoying it. We truly have enjoyed putting it together for you. And I want to take just a moment to talk about the Loren Riddick team, Homes and Loans. My mortgage practice has been going around for over 25 years at the time that we're putting this together. And I'm so proud of that. We've been able to help clients and referral partners all over the country. Texas, California, Colorado, Washington State, Florida, everywhere in between. And of course, our beloved home here in the East Tennessee Smoky Mountains area. I love helping our clients. Whether it's a home or a loan, we'd love to help you. Now, my mortgage practice specializes in traditional forward lending, whether you need VA, FHA, rural development, conventional. We absolutely can help you. But I want to take a moment to talk about something near and dear to my heart, the often misunderstood, wildly popular home equity conversion mortgage, reverse mortgage. Now that's available for folks that are 62 years or better, for yourself or someone that you know that you care about and needs to know about this amazing program. Whether you want to use it as a leverage point to give warm-handed gifts instead of cold-handed gifts, live more independently, and make sure that you're not burdening your family, or just put together a line of access that you can use for down the road that has unbelievable benefits. Love to share with you more about this amazing program. And just in short, how cool would it be to have an optional payment that did not have to get paid back until up to 1 year after you pass away, or up to 150 years of age? It's pretty cool. Therefore, letting the house owe the debt and not you. It's been over 1 million facilitated since Ronald Reagan got behind in the late 80s, including my blood parents, Jim and Edmund. Hey, if you want to know more, go to reversewisdom.com. That's reversewisdom.com. There's a lot of good information. Or just reach out. We'd love to share more about this amazing program or some of our more traditional mortgage products. Of course, real estate as well through my local office.
So I feel like I missed one question and I did not get to ask you.
Okay.
So if you could have coffee with anybody, I mean anyone, a historic figure, somebody right now, who would Loren go to have coffee with?
Golly. Joe, that's a great question, and it's one that I'm looking forward to asking all of our guests, just to see what they say.
Yes.
So many, obviously the first one is probably Jesus, but I think probably my grandparents. I think all 4 grandparents who are in heaven now, J. Marion Myers and Mildred Myers, Ed and Lucille Riddick, So I would love a chance to talk to them so I could learn a little more about them, history, but then also learn about, just get some advice from them, like how would they deal with this, and I would love for them to, be proud of their grandson.
Yes, sir.
And I was a little rotten because I was the only grandson on both sides, so that tells you a lot about me right there, but not too bad. But it would be my grandparents.
Oh, that's some good stuff. That is awesome. Is there any other question that I haven't asked you, that you feel like I should ask you?
Man, I just, no, I mean, you've done an excellent job. And man, like I said, I reluctantly did this podcast with you because I thought, well, let's just do all the guests. But I understand, I guess we need to have me to start it off.
Yeah, but
I'm telling you, if you just like this one that much, you are going to be blown away with all the many guests. And I want to also just extend a very heartfelt gratitude to all the many folks that have given their time to decide to come in and contribute to a greater tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. And I also want to thank you, Joe, for all you've done and you're doing. And man, it's a lot of work, and I'm just excited about seeing the finished product.
Yes, sir. Loren Riddick and Homes and Loans Podcast. We'll be on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. I can't even wait to look back and check these out and just be like excited about this, because this is so good for the community and because this is his stuff. What he's putting out here is just something that is a touch of just what God is gonna use for this. This is gonna be amazing, guys. Can't wait to come back. We might come back and do another one. I mean,
sounds good.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Joe.
8 years. I've had my reverse wisdom for about 8 months. 12 years.
12 years.
My reverse wisdom for 3 months.
I've had my reverse wisdom for 4 months.
I guess Loren about 5 months.
I think it was 2013 or 2014. That'd be what, 11 years?
Yeah,
12 years?
11 years, but
How long have you had your reverse wisdom?
2 years, I think.
Hi, I've had my reverse wisdom for 1 year.
Mine for 10 years.
Reverse wisdom for 5 years.
Hi, we're Bev and Fred Wagner. We came to Tennessee about 17 years ago, and Loren was our go-to guy. He was dependable. He was helpful. He fixed everything. He was awesome to us, and we have been with Loren for 17 years. In the last couple of years, we realized that we could get involved with this reverse mortgage, and we've been very happy about it. With our extra money, just last year we celebrated our 50th anniversary and went to Alaska without the financial worry of it, and it's been awesome. And Loren's been awesome. We love him. So we encourage you to all come aboard.
Okay, I'm Jerry St. Clair. I've had a reverse for about 10 years, me and my wife Mercy. It was one of the best things we ever did. Loren and his team are great to work with. We've been able to live in our dream house for all these years because of this reverse, and I would do it all over again. Thanks.